IPRS is introducing the first conversation in our Meet the Media series. And my special guest is Haikel Fahim. He's the head of Telum Media in Southeast Asia. Haikel, thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm joining at home, but we are both wearing a suit. It's a weird feeling, but no, great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Now, let me give a brief introduction of Haikel for those of you who may not know him. Haikel started his career in the media as an intern with MediaCorp in 2006, and his career spans roles in advocacy, agency, and public relations before he joined Tellem. And he's built the platform to become the region's most comprehensive platform for media relations. So Haikel, amid the rapidly evolving media landscape today, can any PR team or agency really do without a Tellem subscription?
I would like to think no. If your bread and butter involves media relations, as most PR plans, actually do, I'd like to think that Tellem would be absolutely essential to your business and to your comms plans and comms strategies. Wherever it might be, really. We are in the business to really help comms teams save time, be it if you're a PR agency or in-house. As long as you're speaking with the media, as long as you need to reach out to the media and you're wondering which media to reach out to, which contacts and which journalists to reach out to for whichever purposes, for at which time of the day, for some of them even, we are there to help you, because our database, as you said, Marcus, it's the most comprehensive, the most accurate you can get in the region, really. So we're there to help you, and I like to think that most of our clients really can't do their work without us.
I can't remember a single day when COVID hasn't made front page news. And at a time when we thought that more people are turning to social media for their news, why do you think traditional media has made such a comeback?
As you probably said, people used to go to social media, but most consumers are actually smart themselves. They know that those perhaps are not the most credible platforms to consume news. Especially when it comes to the hard stuff and something so serious and something so widespread like COVID-19. So that's perhaps the reason why the credibility and of the traditional media, your bigger names, the bigger boys, have come to the forefront and have really capitalized and enjoyed the types of viewership that they're getting right now. So it really just is about the credibility that these media actually have.
How has relationship building with these journalists evolved in this new normal?
Well, I think more than ever, you would realize that if you had not built any sort of relationship with journalists and the media prior to the current situation, it would be hard for you during this time. But more than ever, you should still try to build those relationships with the media because you need to still be talking about yourselves. I think it will be naive for comms practitioners to stay silent during this period. I do really am of the opinion that if you stay silent right now and you don't try to talk about yourselves or don't try to speak to the media in whatever situation that you are in right now, it would definitely be tougher for you when the better times actually come. When we get back to some bit of normalcy in the near future, hopefully for everyone.
Media relationships used to be, the secret weapon of PR practitioners. I remember when I first started out in public relations, the media list used to be one of the competitive edge of your agency, and they guard it like proprietary information. Now, what do you say to practitioners who aren't taking kindly to Telum Media exposing this secret weapon to virtually anyone with a subscription?
Firstly, I like to think that people have not had the impression of not taking us kindly, because most of the PR agencies, especially in Singapore, actually use Telum Media. So I think everyone has embraced it quite well and used it as a platform to value add to their services, which is essentially that. I mean, with that, my point is that We do not take away the business of PR because Telum Media don't do PR. We provide the tool for you to do a bit of one little bit of PR, which is obviously essential for your businesses, for your clients, which is media relations. So, you know, with that, you know, there are so many other areas of public relations and comms that people need to work on. And they are, you know, very, very important and time consuming. Building media lists and, you know, putting together media lists and trying to get in touch with journalists and finding the right contacts takes time away from doing the core PR work, if you like. So, you know, there's integrated comms, there's strategic comms, there's media training, there's digital activation. Everything comes together right now. So it just allows PR practitioners and comms practitioners to go back to the core of PR and the core of their business and do what they are really hired to do and what they are really good at, which is not what we are doing right now for our clients. We just provide that tool, the most comprehensive tool, as we've said earlier, to get them to doing all of this a little bit better.
I know it's a real struggle for media to keep staff journalists at this time. They're losing revenue, particularly ad revenue. I know trade journalists are closing down or halting production for a few months. Others are doing more online. How can Telum Media help PR people keep up to date with all of these changes in the media landscape or in these media outlets?
Well, Telum Media has an edge when we actually get in touch with the media and we network with the media. We do not have the same purpose and the same, you know, the same intent as how PR practitioners and brands when they get in touch with journalists. That gives us a bit of an advantage in trying to learn and help to map out all of these for the media themselves. We provide different areas of the media. So because we help journalists identify editorial jobs that there are for within the region. We help to announce PR news, so people moves within the PR industry where we actually announce them, and journalists themselves can capitalize on that. We help them push out what we call media requests as well, which means if they are writing a story which they want a bit more traction, they want to put a bit more credibility, they can use our platform to blast out to our clients and our user base to talk about what they are after, so they push out good stories out there. So with all of these, hopefully then, you know, revenue streams such as subscription and various other revenue streams from content marketing, branded content, all that will come flowing in sponsorships as well. So what we understand that, you know, ad revenue, especially print ad revenue, has gone down. I think the media has diversified a little bit from using, you know, digital platforms to diversify their revenue and earn from various platforms and various means that they actually provide to their consumers.
How can Telum Media help the in-house practitioners, the in-house PR teams, when that in-house team already has a PR agency?
Okay.
You know, what are some of the best practices that you have seen in agencies and in-house teams working together with Telum Media as part of the tools that they're using?
I'd say if you are currently of the strategy that you are using your agency to merely get in touch with the journalists, I think that needs to be tweaked slightly. Just because it's that journalists, for one, prefer to reach directly to the source and to the brands themselves. But, you know, this doesn't mean that it's because PR agencies are not doing a good job. I know a lot of people have got so many friends in PR agencies are doing stellar of a job in getting in touch with the media directly. But, you know, for in-house teams, you might want to maintain the relationship with the media yourselves. So Telum Media are able to do that by giving you the access to the journalists directly, and use your agencies in tandem with that to do other things, the things that they are brilliant at doing, like telling stories, producing different types of content, coming up with, you know, crisis communications, which I believe everyone would have wished they have one right now. You know, so those are the things that PR agencies can value add to your contract with them. So don't merely see them as a channel to get in touch with the media, because there are other very, very good things that we can do for you. And so use us in tandem with your PR agency, which so many of our clients do. So, and we definitely want to speak to people who want to do that and hear some of the best practices. We're happy to share further.
So the summary of that is, Penny, don't fire your PR agency. But now that Tellem has taken off the media relations portion and database portion for you, you can make use of the PR agency further up the value chain. So maybe in a more strategic way.
Exactly.
Then,
yeah. I mean, yeah. You got it bang on it. Please don't fire your PR agencies. I got so many friends in there. They're all gonna come after me right after this. If that's the message that everyone got. So don't do that. So they are great. They can do so much more things for you, other than just reaching out to the media. A lot of in-house brands have regulations as well, where they can't use one particular agency for a prolonged period of time. So just to safeguard themselves, just to be fair to others, and just as good auditing practices. So with that, you don't want to use your media relationships with your agency when you have the need to switch agencies, even if you don't want to do it. So that's where Telum Media actually is valuable for you to keep that relationships in-house within your brand, within your organization.
as an extension of what we spoke about earlier about how journalists have themselves turned to social media to send out sound bites, Twitter, LinkedIn, how does Tellem help agencies and in-house teams connect with all of these social media activities that journalists are engaging in? Is that a feature that Telem Media has?
Somewhat, yes, because every single journalist that we have on our platform, we try to find their social media accounts. So if they have a go-to Twitter account, Twitter handle, we would have them tagged to their profiles. So you'll be able to see any sort of social media activity they actually have, because it links back to their very own profile, whether they are active on Instagram because they are a food writer, right? Or if they are tweeting from the World Economic Forum because they're covering that. All of those can be seen via the platform, because there is a direct link from the journalist profile to their Twitter handles or LinkedIn or Facebook even for some of them. And for our other markets, even with the likes of WeChat, Weibo, we have all of those. So that is the most direct correlation that I can see.
And what's the difference between using Telem Media to reach out to the media, get our news out, as compared to press release and wire distributors?
Well, wire distributors is pretty much the tactic of casting the net out wide and hoping it sticks, right? So that's not what we do. Technically, you can use our platform to do that, but that's not what we want to tell people to do. We are in the business of telling people to build a network, build relationships, because these relationships with the media are the ones who will get you stories. I always tell people who use Tellem, don't pitch stories to the media in the way that you would have the idea of just cold emailing or cold calling or sending just a mere press release. Work with the media for a story, find out what they've been writing on, find out what their interests are, and we have a little interest questionnaire that we tag onto each journalist profile that would want to answer them on Tellem, where they tell you their personal interests even. So can you imagine if you actually have a journalist who writes on business and finance, but loves football, and you'll be able to entice him and have a conversation with him around that. It just boosts your profile and capture his attention a little bit more. So those are the kind of things that we actually detail out. So build that relationship and try to do it such as that when the time comes, when you need to sell a story, if you want to call it that, to the journalist, it becomes easier, it becomes natural, and not just having a press release going out to 1,001 journalists and everyone wants to write about the same story, and in the end, no one actually picks it up.
COVID has made losers out of leaders who have lost control of their narratives in this difficult period. How have PR professionals used Tellem to become winners in this COVID situation?
I think it's really about how they've really managed to, like I said, build that network and build that relationship with the media prior to COVID, which a lot of people have been able to capitalize on. That said, I think a lot of businesses have also come to us during this period, trying to salvage and trying to now talk about themselves during this period, pushing out narratives about their thought leaders within their companies, and pushing out that narrative and offer themselves out to the media, because these are useful content, these are good content, good content that needs to be out there, without while trying to manage that narrative and not being being a bit tactful to not exploit the current pandemic situation. That's a fine line there, which I think the good comms professionals are able to maneuver quite well.
How do you see the media landscape evolving now going forward post-COVID?
That's a very interesting question. I spoke to so many media people and journalists during this period, and seeing how they are working right now is really, really heartening, and I really appreciate the type of work that they do. I spoke to Ted Kemp, the digital managing editor at CNBC International recently, and he said they broke the record number of views for their online sites every month of this year. I spoke to him last in March, but I think they broke it in April. I'm sure they'll break it again in May. I spoke to the Asia First presenters on CNA 938. One of them is at home, and one of them is in the studios, and they are broadcasting live to their listeners every single morning. I think there will be some changes in how they actually work to skew it towards digital. While I say that, I'm actually going to now I just put a link into the chat there. You can see with this a lot. This is a infographic from a website I'm really fond of, Visual Capitalist. So have a look. So they mapped out where people are consuming content during the COVID-19 pandemic. So different age groups and different demographics. It's really interesting to see how even the people of the older age group are moving towards online. So I do feel that there are going to be a lot of digital sort of initiatives from the media to be able to make themselves heard, relevant, be able to tell their stories a little bit better.
So the shift towards digital you see happening even more, and the reversion towards traditional media because of the credibility that they bring to the table. Am I right?
Definitely. And we've seen the shift to digital happening over the last 5 to 8 years even, and it's happening even more now. It's creating the different streams, like I said earlier. Your big boys are coming up with niche podcasts to talk about specific things, and so creating different streams of content. So with that also, I think it provides good opportunity for comms practitioners to be able to capitalize on all of these different platforms, because there will be spaces for you to tell your story. There will be spaces for you to push your messaging out. It's just choosing the right platform and who it might be, and who can help you out with that other than Tellem, and I'm sure we'll be able to help you out with that really, really effectively.
Nice. So there are, several students with us. Shalu Matani posed this question to us, and I'm sure that they are keen to know. They will be graduating armed with communication degrees, and they are likely to be disillusioned with the current job climate. Right. My question is, what advice would you give to these students, assuming that you could give an advice also to your younger self?
Well, the advice I would give to to my younger self is probably the same advice I'll give to those students. And Shalu, shout out to you. I know you from a long time ago. And thanks for sending in that question. And Michael Webster, my CEO, I believe it is somewhere within the attendees list I saw earlier. He's going to be so proud when I say this. He always tells me it's all about the network. And that's something that I really want to push out there. The industry is really all about the network. If I had something I would tell to my younger self and also to everyone who's graduating soon, is build your network, speak to people in the industry, do your internships, do your time, and approach people and learn from them. Go to different internships. If one's over, there will be something that's out there for you. The moment you build that network, that is something that you will treasure for the rest of your career, because you'll never know what it might bring you in the future. Every role which I've been in for most parts of my career has not been from me standing in my resume code. It's because someone somewhere whom I've met before has spoken to someone else about me, and they've gotten in touch and then asked me if does this sound interesting to you. So Matthew, who hired me at Telum Media, I used to charge him $3,000 for sending out press releases for him in Indonesia. So it really is about the network, and you'll never know when they will come in handy and how it will actually shape your career. So that's that.
It's a focus on the relations and public relations, isn't it?
Exactly. Oh gosh, that's a soundbite there. You should record that.
I know, right? What is Telum Media's sense of purpose in the world today?
I say that, for us, it really is about keeping a good, healthy relationship between PRs and the media, because I'm sure as the years go by, the media themselves want to tell the good stories out there, and the good things that different companies do. So while Telum Media perhaps not have a direct hand in that, we want to provide the means and the tool for those messages to be out there and to get out there easier. We are so heartened, to see things such as mental health issues and sustainability, for example, coming to the forefront so much more now. And I believe we have a hand in that, because we have helped to put to the forefront these journalists and these titles. We do interviews with people who've started out these titles, and we profiled them in a way that gives them credibility for comms professionals to actually then make use, or I say make use, but really utilize their platforms and their channels to tell the good stories that they do.
What is the relevance of a convening body like IPRS? And what does being a member of IPRS mean to you?
Well, I've always seen IPRS as an integral part of the profession in Singapore. And I say this because the comms profession is really, we call ourselves comms professionals. So someone needs to represent that profession and to give it credibility and to talk and promote about the profession to everyone else. And no better body can actually do it other than a neutral body such as IPRS. And I think that's really important to give ourselves the credibility to be able to go out there and tell our stories, is if we have some credibility on our own, and I believe IPRS is doing that. The other thing that I think IPRS is able to provide for the industry is things such as training for both people coming into the industry, such as the students who are probably with us today, and also the current comms practitioners. I say people that there's so many areas of comms that we need to equip ourselves with. So it really is about learning from each other and providing each other the right knowledge and skills to be better practitioners. I think there's no better central body to do that other than the likes of IPRS.
Thank you for being so kind, Haikel. And on that note, I'd like to thank you very much for giving us these insights. I thank you and your team for being such a friend to IPRS. Welcome to the IPRS community, and I'm sure that the community will be immensely enriched by the contributions of generous thought leaders like you. Thank you, Haikel.
Thank you so much. For anyone who wants to get in touch with me, you'll be able to find me very easily on LinkedIn. No one spells their name like I do. So thank you, Marcus. Thank you to IPRS team, Irene and Nisar for inviting me. And it's been fun. So I wish everyone well, take care, be safe. And I hope to catch everyone in better times and hopefully in person.